After moving to a new place and setting up a new shop, I realized how quickly a mess of parts, tools, and junk can easily get strewn about, making it ever so difficult to actually use the shop to get any work done. So today we're going to build a cheap tool cabinet of sorts that will keep us organized. All I've got are some cheap storage cases, scrap wood, leftover various hardware, and a very loose, outdated set of know-how from high school shop class. I can't promise anything. So set the bar in your mind as low as it possibly can go. We're about to limbo. In this special DIY episode of Entrepreneurs, I'm not gonna teach you a thing. No. In fact, here's the disclaimer. I wouldn't call this a tutorial at all. I'd take all this with the tiniest grain of salt if I were you. And if you do get anything from this, it's probably gonna be some mild entertainment. That's it. Before we take a stab at it, just know that outside of gathering the parts for assembly, the actual design of this thing was nearly 100% improvised on the spot. Basically, I just wanted to see if my imagination could throw something together, a tool shelf of sorts that provides some sort of function. And the quicker, the better, I guess? Anyways, I needed all that crap put in its proper place. And yeah, it's far from perfect. In fact, here's your final warning. It's an eyesore. If you're willing to accept all that, then all right, let's do this thing. So many bad memories. Okay, let's go. Though I'm not a woodsmith by trade, I happen to know it can get quite dusty. Cutting wood is messy in any room, so to protect the valuable assets all over the place, I cordoned off a section of the shop where I could do all the wood cutting and not suffocate the entire place. And speaking of suffocate, I didn't have a pro dust mask, so I just put on a few face masks, safety glasses, and a poncho. And to prevent the plastic from getting caught on the grinder or a saw, I belted it with a bungee cord. Yeah, no, that's where the improv starts, and it gets pretty wild after that. Just another fair warning for you. Looking slick. I might try fashion design after this. After clearing out the workspace, I measured the storage cases that I'd be using to organize each shelf, so I could cut out a support platform for each one. The design in my head required several, beams, stalks, legs, I don't know, sides. I'm the last person to ask when it comes to woodworking terms. I just wanted to make sure each corner had slots for the shelves to rest nice and snug, and those slots should be deep enough to hold each shelf in place. I am the last person to know what tool is best for each job. I just had the few cheap ones I could find in the bargain store, so that's the thing that will probably prevent me from ever pursuing woodworking professionally, and seems like you gotta have 40 different tools to make a few different kinds of cuts, angles, grooves, dips, divots, etc. I don't have the room or money to get that kind of stuff set up in my place, and the neighbors would hate that kind of noise and dust. But if there was any kind of do-it-all single tool that could literally make every kind of cut to help you make any sort of wood thing, then sign me up. There is one tool I cannot go without, and that's the mini sucking. Hand vac, I guess you guys might call it. But that being said, I did buy a few more useful tools after the fact. But for now, enjoy watching me trying to make channels with a $10 angle grinder and a crafter's rotary tool. Mini sucking. And that cursed, devilish hellspawn of a hand-me-down handsaw. Damn that thing to hell. I hate it. It's cheap, but it's not the way to be working these things. Oh, and I quickly learned a cheap folding table should not substitute as a woodworking bench. I'm gonna get evicted, aren't I? And halfway through the setup, I decided I would make the base of the shelf wide enough to fit a cheap tool set underneath. And you know how they always say, measure twice, cut once? Well, my first measure was way off. So I cut the shelves, one long one for the base, and 3 smaller ones to fit below the storage cases, and then I realized I would need to make that divider to hold the shelves up at the base, so I needed it thick enough to make the channels like the support legs had, so I glued 2 cheap pieces of plywood I found in the scrap. And once that dried, I cut it to size and used the grinder again to channel out some grooves for the shelves. I know that's not kosher for you wood nuts out there, but oh god, I remember how challenging this was. I could not get, mini suck it. I could not get these grooves straight at all with the grinder, and that's probably why they have made other tools fit for such a job. Here's where a more proper tool would have come in handy for all of these jobs, but I thought some wood glue would be proper to hold it all together with the few pieces I had so far. Yeah, that was easier said than done. I cut out a few cross beams for additional support to actually make this thing somewhat structurally sound. Angled some grooves into those babies and glued them into place. Oh, look, it's starting to look like something. I added some more glue, basically wherever two pieces of wood touched. I let it dry for about a day, propped it up and pressed it against the wall with a few heavy books and came back to this. It's definitely starting to look like something. Time to truly test the structural integrity of this bad boy, I guess.
Careful. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that straight edge. What the hell? Careful, dude. Jesus. Okay, yeah, that's something. That is, something. Will it work? Okay, there's nothing in the case, so it doesn't really weigh it down much, but... Oh yeah, you're gonna have to... Yeah, you're gonna have to fix that. Okay.
While it was drying, I went out and picked up some of these long super screws to drill deep into the cross beams and ensure this thing never comes apart. Mini suck it. Honestly, this part was pretty fun, mini suck it. Many people don't realize this, but it's actually pretty easy to get these things in. But that uses a lot of my chi, so I opted for a ratchet and drill combo instead. The hex bolt end was perfect for the ratchet. Honestly, anything with a ratchet is pretty fun. I can't wait to do some car repairs with this baby. The long super screws really carried this project to the bitter end. I didn't even know screws this long existed. If they didn't, I probably would have scrapped this whole project. Mini suck it. I'm glad I have a bunch of extra screws. Thanks, IKEA. 3 random screws on the bottom going into the vertical divider, and perfect. Nice and snug. That'll hold it up for a while, hopefully. A few more of those longer screws to make this thing battle ready. Now to test this thing out. And fade to black. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have no words. I mean, yeah's the word. This thing's an eyesore, but hey. It does what we set it out for it to do. 4 shelves, 4 cases, plenty of customizable storage bins. This baby's got miles under the hood for sure. A beautiful set of tools and a room for a drill and some other stuff above that. Whew, okay, mission accomplished.
Look at that thing! It's really something. You know, for a guy who really doesn't know what he's doing, it didn't turn out half bad. Nearly all of this was just improvised on the spot. It's got form, somewhat. It's got function, somewhat. And damn it, it does its job. Somewhat. But if you have all the proper tools and hardware to make a shelf of your own, then I suggest you make yours better. Sure, you can use mine as like a jumping off point, but take your time, do it safe, and do it the right way. Don't just wing it from imagination like I did. Factor in the cost of the scrap wood and some extra hardware. Honestly, this thing only cost about $15 to make. Do it your own way and do it the safe way. And all you handy people, feel free to roast me in the comments. Well, thanks again for joining me on this. Can I lean on that? Okay, light lean. It's got a little wobble. It's a weak table.
Well, thanks again for joining me on this special DIY episode of Entrepreneurs. I know it was slightly unorthodox building this here monstrosity, but now we have an efficient, space-saving tool organization system that will make our workspace nice and clean. And every creator out there, entrepreneur or not, will tell you that having a clean workspace is a productive workspace. Yeah, this episode was a little different, but that's the future of the Entrepreneur series. We're gonna do whatever the hell we want, and you're welcome to join along for the ride. So subscribe and stay tuned, see what we got for our future.
I really appreciate you watching me struggle making this. It was actually quite fun to create. Maybe we'll make more wood-based things in the future. I truly owe a debt of gratitude to my patrons. You guys keep this place running and lively. Thanks to you, I'm able to create more, and this tool storage system will ensure that fact. To join this amazing community of artists, crafters, and builders, click the link somewhere on the screen here that will lead you to the Patreon page. But for now, I'm gonna try and move this thing back to the workbench safely, piece by piece, not all together, because I'm afraid it'll shatter. Yeah, I'll see you next time.